So just a random subject, but some food for thought. So this is a bit of a random subject given the other ones that I've already made this morning. I'm on video number 4 for this morning's run, brought to you by waking up at 4 a.m. and coffee. And yes, Aramonasul, this is coffee. There's a running gag between me and the Black Tower about what constitutes coffee, and to him, iced coffee doesn't count. He calls it a coffee substitute. But that is not the topic of this video. The topic of this video is why I don't do curses. So, as you guys know, if you've watched my other videos and such, the first thing that I ever did was a binding, right? And impulsive magic wise and being a beginner wise, it backfired. I mean, it paid off, but it encircled both parties. And I'm very good at bindings. I'm very good at like protection and stuff. I have wards around the house, and I did done stuff for other people and done stuff on my car and other things like that. Should have done it before I got in that first accident, but of course I was super busy back then. But that's beside the point. My whole point behind this video is just generate a conversation. So feel free to drop stuff in the comments, and maybe I can make a response video and stuff to some comments that other people make down there. But I don't like to curse people. It's like when you are out and about, and if someone is rude, you're only adding to the situation if you are rude back to them, right? Personally, I think it's much better to ignore negativity and try to rise above it. Now, in the event that somebody is affecting me personally negatively, I don't see. I mean, there is a time and a place for curses. I have a video on that, and I have done them in the past, but I try not to now, and I really haven't in a long time, because I try to basically either deflect stuff or rise above it regardless. I like the idea of karma, even though karma, as we understand it, with you get what you put out, isn't necessarily what karma means. Maybe I should make a video on that. Let me know if you guys want that. And but the main idea that I'm trying to get to here is there's so many better things to do with your time than to actually waste your energy and your time cursing people. I think that if you throw a curse at someone, one, you're risking it rebounding. Two, you are wasting your time and energy when you could be focusing on doing things to make yourself better, to possibly like avoid that person, or if it's like a work situation or something, you could be better than them at what you are doing, and then you wouldn't have to deal with that person anymore, or they would be able to see that you are not being affected by them. It's like schoolyard bullies, right? They will keep going after you. And I've had tons of experience with this junk as a kid. But bullies will go after you as long as you give them a reaction. So what better than to ignore anyone that's being negative. Now, binding, on the other hand, has a time and a place. If somebody is being negative and whatnot, just shut them up. I think it's much more effective to just shut somebody up and stop what they're doing, rather than hurting them or cursing them in a way to give them some repercussions for it. We don't always have to punish people. Maybe we could just get them to stop what they're doing and then focus on what we need to do. So I grabbed a book for reference from my library back there, and this is the first time you've ever been up there. What are you doing? I got a couple of things up there in front of the altar, like my my Switch controller and stuff. And Pixie's gonna be running around back there. Yeah, so she made a cameo. Anyhow, so I got the Little Book of Curses and Maledictions for Everyday Use. This is actually written by a journalist, interestingly enough, if I can remember right. And I mean, it's a fairly gorgeous book, right? I actually found this at Borders way back in the day before Borders went under. And I really like the way that this delineates some of the curses, right? There's revenge curses, there's warning curses, binding curses and repudiation curses. So I just talked about bindings. I think bindings can be considered a little bit different than curses because it's just shutting someone up rather than getting having some negative action taken towards them, like bad luck or what have you. The the revenge curses. I don't think revenge is ever really needed. Um, just kind of try to sail above that. But warning curses is kind of like the hey, back off kind of thing. The binding curses is what I like because it just stops people from doing what they're doing. Remember, I don't exactly consider them curses because to me, curses is when you direct some negativity towards somebody, right? But I think that just shutting people up isn't exactly that negative. And repudiation curses would be the most negative, where, okay, now you're getting the backlash kind of stuff, like taste of your own medicine kind of thing. And sometimes, and the way that I really like to think about it is that sometimes just completely removing yourself from a situation in terms of being affected by something is way better than retaliating. Like in and I know this is like a stupid rule, but like when you're in school and stuff, um, if somebody throws a punch at you, right, and you fight back, guess what? You're both at fault. That's why in a lot of self-defense situations and whatever, your duty is to flee, right? I mean, if somebody goes to hit you or whatever, just getting out of that situation should be your number one idea. And I think it's the same thing with anyone else that's being negative. If you can avoid it, then by all means do so. If you can't avoid it, then what I would do is see if you could stop it. And if that still doesn't work, well then curses as your last resort. Have I had to do those before? Yes. Have I had to do them in recent past? No, because I've been focusing on self-improvement for years. And if you improve yourself to a level above whoever you would feel like throwing a curse at, you'll find that you really don't need to do curses and such. There's many better things to do with your time. Think about like if you're in a if have you ever had like negative thoughts that just pervade you and just persist day after day after day after day about somebody? Sometimes when we think about things too much, we are wasting our energy and wasting our time when we could just be focusing on something else. So, I mean, I guess that's kind of the moral of this video is rather than cursing, let's focus on self-improvement and let's make ourselves better than those low lives that are trying to ruin us. So that's effectively why I don't curse. Let me know if this made sense or if you want me to expand on it a little bit. This was more of an inspirational rant, but you guys know how my rants go. So yeah, drop it in the comments, connect with me on Facebook, all that stuff. Check out my books and whatnot at the end of this video. Good hunting. Thanks for watching my video. So if you want to check out my playlists, I have, among others, the Simon Necronomicon, the Tree of Life, General Magic, Tulpamancy, a playlist on my books, the elements, stones, the theories that govern magic, and the gods and goddesses of Mesopotamia. If you want to check out my books on Amazon, I have Creating Consciousness, Magical Mechanics, Magical Theater, Handy Sigil Magic, Magical Movement, which is an update and expansion upon Handy Sigil Magic, Magical Mastery, which is a combination masterwork of Magical Theater and Magical Mechanics, and The Guide to the Spheres and Beyond. You can also find me on Facebook at Magickology YT. You can email me at priestofthenecro@gmail.com, and you can even check out my Instagram, which is Magickology. And good hunting.